Welcome back to Viking football with head coach Bruce Barnum as the Vikings get ready for their home opener this Saturday at Hillsboro Stadium, Portland State, taking on Western Oregon, a 2 p.m. game. You can see that game on ESPN+. In fact, you can see all Viking games for the remainder of the season on ESPN+. Get your subscription if you don't have one. You can watch it online. You can watch it on your tablet. You can watch it on your phone. Coach, as we get ready for Western Oregon, we'll take a quick look back at Washington State. The Vikings losing last Saturday against the Cougars 44-24. Some of your takeaways from that game. Did you see some improvement from game one to game two?
We did, Mike. We talked about that today after practice. We did see improvement, and that's what we need. You know, game one, game two, game three, boom. Then we start the Big Sky Conference play. So I was happy with that. I was happy with some performances. We have to clean up the game, you know, to win a game like that. They need to make mistakes, and we can't. You know, not 100%, but we need to clean our game up a little bit. But good to be home. It's been, almost 2 years now. So the guys are excited to get out to Hillsboro and get busy.
All right, and as the Vikings play in these first two games, obviously playing up against FBS opponents, always a big challenge. I know one thing that you're a little concerned about is finding balance on offense, and that's a little tough when you play up against those FBS teams. You want to have a fairly balanced run-pass situation, maybe not as balanced as you wanted in the first 2 weeks.
No, we like to run the ball more, you know, Mike, and we weren't getting a lot of production there, and it is, you know, it was about our opponent. Very few fronts are like that in the Big Sky. I know Idaho is, and sounds like Montana is. We don't play them this year, but, you know, Montana State's got two big defensive ends, but the caliber of the entire group of the front seven, the last 2 weeks have been better than us as far as running the football. So we need to get back on track there. But I like that we've had to throw a little more than we want to, and we're doing it. You know, the guys are performing, so that's fun to see.
And as we take a look at that real quickly, that passing game has actually been very effective against a couple of FBS opponents. Bo Kelly leading the Big Sky Conference right now in receiving receptions and yards, one of the tops in the nation. A couple freshmen we're going to talk about, Darian Chase and Nate Bennett, redshirt freshmen, who have performed extremely well. 23 catches between those two guys. And, Coach, let me ask you about freshmen, because you have a handful of freshmen making big contributions. I mentioned Chase and Bennett starting at wide receiver last week. You have Richard Estrella up on the offensive line, a redshirt freshman. And then on defense, your top two tacklers, Parker McKenna and Justice Pagan at linebacker. So the freshman influence is pretty significant so far.
It is. It's great to see those guys, you know, performing. And kudos to my coaches, you know, for the recruiting side of it, both pre-pandemic and during the pandemic. I mean, we recruited, we changed some positions, and now there is some youth on this team. And there's some good youth still sitting on the bench, you know. So, but I'm happy for those guys, and it's just all positive for the future of Viking football.
In all, the Vikings have played 18 freshmen, whether they're true freshmen or redshirt freshmen, through the first two games. So a lot of talented youth on this program. Coach, let's talk a little bit now about Western Oregon. Kind of a similar situation. They've started with 2 games on the road, and they are 0-2. But Arn Ferguson over there at Western Oregon has been there 16 years. They've had a lot of success, 7-4 in their last full season, 2019. What can we expect to see from the Western Oregon Wolves?
Well-coached football team. I've known Arn for quite a few moons. He's a hell of a coach, and their program is a tough one. Every time we schedule, we're like, you know, we sure want to play Western Oregon, but hell of a job. I've watched the last 2 games. I think they've traveled farther than we have. So, you know, take that into play. They're probably happy to only be coming a little over an hour up to Hillsboro. But expect a well-coached football team from Arn. That's what he's known for.
And they have traveled a long way playing games in Colorado and Texas the first 2 weeks. Coach, what do you want to see from your team? You talked about some growth from game 1 to game 2, but the script is flipped a little bit now. We're the favorites if you look at it on paper, whereas we were the underdogs the previous 2 weeks. So what is it you need your team to do when they come out against Western Oregon?
Clean some things up, Mike. On the penalty side of it's not bad. I don't like the turnovers offensively. I mean, we came out last week on the first drive. We turned the football over, but clean up those items. Clean up, some of the more, dot the I's and cross the T's, and as far as assignments on a man scheme up front, whatever it may be, clean up the drops. Just clean up our game. Our package is in. Everybody knows how we do it here. We put our offensive package in. That's what we run all year, and we'll adjust as you adjust. But I need that crisper, and defensively, clean up the tackles and as many turnovers as you can get us.
And the Vikings actually have done a pretty good job of forcing turnovers. Anthony Adams has forced 3 turnovers already in 2 games. That's why he's an All-American. Another guy who's making some big plays, VJ Malo, 3.5 sacks in the first 2 games. He's created some much-needed pressure on the quarterback, and I know really defensively you're going to give up points. That's what college football is. But I know what you really want is to be making big plays, sacks, turnovers, key stops on 3rd and 4th downs.
It is. It's fun to watch those guys play. Critical. The first interception by us down there in the goal line, in the end zone, right across the goal line from Ant. I mean, that's money. It's good to have him on our side. And VJ's electric. VJ's fun to watch. He's, even as I'm watching the defense on the field, he's one that I sometimes key on just to see if he's going to get to the quarterback. But it's great to see the front 7 playing off of each other that way, and the hustle and getting to the football. It'll be all positives when we keep that up.
All right, Coach, before we finish, I'm going to ask you a question I'm sure you're not expecting. It seems like every week, as we date back a few previous seasons and also this season, the Vikings win the opening coin flip. It seems like we win it every week, Coach. You're probably not even on the field yet when it happens. But the Vikings always seem to win the coin flip, and they always seem to defer. Is that on your quarterback, or if you win it this week, are you going to take that football and march down, try to get a 7-point lead and run away with it?
Well, that's on us. What I love to do, Mike, if it was planned perfectly, you score right before going into half, and then you get the football back in the second half. So there's a 14-point swing no matter what's going on the field. That's what's in the back of my mind. But I tell the captains, I tell Davis, I think usually calls it to defer if we win for that one reason.
All right, we're going to watch the opening coin flip very attentively this week when the Vikings take on Western Oregon once again. The home opener this Saturday out at Hillsboro Stadium, 2 p.m. The game is on ESPN+. You can see it there. And for all your information on Vikings football, go to govikes.com.